Welcome to my unboxing and first look at the ASUS Vivobook. This particular one is the S400C, which is, I don't know, something. Basically, it's a Vivobook. So the idea is that it's kind of like a lower cost version of a very slim and light notebook that is also from ASUS, the ZenBook. And yeah, it just comes in at kind of a lower price point. I mean, this one's around 600 bucks. Comes with eco-friendly packaging, which I do like to see. Remember, guys, foam, there's pretty much no way to break it down. So yeah, it's a very, very bad thing. So it's not as thin as a ZenBook, but it's still in a very sort of slim, beautiful form factor with brushed metal on the top that looks absolutely gorgeous, actually. That's fantastic. It's considering the sort of the value price point of this model. So we're gonna put that down for now and we'll talk specs. It's not an Ultrabook because it doesn't sort of fall inside Intel's, oh, it is an Ultrabook. My bad. Okay, it is an Ultrabook, which means it does fall within Intel specification, meaning it has the anti-theft technology, it has all the appropriate chipsets, so it has to have an Intel wireless chipset, it has to meet a certain specification in terms of weight and thickness per size. I think the reason that I thought it wasn't an Ultrabook was because it's a little thicker than most Ultrabooks, but that is because the Ultrabook specification does allow notebooks that are larger, so that is the diagonal length across the screen, to be thicker because they just have to be larger machines, and you don't want to compromise the rigidity and the build quality of the machine just to get sort of, a little bit of extra, well, okay, you wouldn't call it extra thinness. It's more like less thickness. So we're going to go ahead and fire it up. Ooh, touchscreen too. This is actually sort of an outstanding notebook. It comes with ASUS's 360 coverage, so I just want you guys to check this out. 2-year international warranty. That means even if you take it somewhere else, you're not going to get any hassle if something goes wrong. 0 bright dot guarantee on the LCD, so ASUS will replace it for you. They cover 2-way free standard shipping for warranty repairs and 24/7 technical support. It looks like this particular one doesn't include the accidental damage that they used to include. You know what? We should double check this and find out for you though. It does not include accidental damage like some of the higher end models do, but okay, it's a lower end model, so I guess it is what it is. At least you have the international warranty, which I think is one of the biggest things. And free 2-way shipping actually is pretty good too, because the industry standard is that the manufacturer will pay to ship it back to you, but you pay to ship it to them in the first place. So I haven't actually gone through specs, so let's just have a quick look here. So it runs a Core i5-3317U, although the S400 shell is available in a variety of different CPU configs. This particular one has a 500 gig SATA drive with a 24 gig M SSD, so I think they mean M SATA SSD. That's being used as a cache, which does actually make the device feel dramatically snappier in my experience. It's a 14-inch screen. It is a touchscreen screen, which I think is pretty much a must on any notebook these days. It comes with 6 gigs of RAM for this particular model, although some of the different ones do not. Doesn't have fingerprint, doesn't have TV. It runs a 1366 by 768 resolution, and it runs Windows 8 64-bit. I wish we'd been able to get rid of the whole 64-bit, 32-bit thing earlier on, but I didn't get my way with all of that, so there you go. They've gone with a different shape for their power brick for this generation here. So we've got the same sort of cable running to a power brick, running to another cable setup that we've seen before, just like this. But they've just changed the shape a little bit. I mean, this might make it a little bit easier to, okay, this doesn't come off or anything, easier to like coil up or easier to tuck away in something, but I don't see it making that much of a difference. I no longer have an iPhone 4, so I'll be doing my HTC 8X size comparison. For those of you who don't know how big an 8X is, it's very similar in size to a Galaxy S3, so that should give you a better idea of how big the power brick actually is. Now let's have a look at the notebook itself. It actually reminds me a lot of, like in terms of just the overall finish of it, the overall look of the keyboard, especially of something like a MacBook, where it has a very, very solid feel. It's not a unibody design by any stretch of the imagination, but look at this. You actually really can't see a lot of flex to the keyboard itself. So you can see from the pressure on my fingers how much pressure I'm actually putting on the unit, but there's really not a lot of flex to it. So typing should be very comfortable on the chiclet keyboard that's included, just because the thing that really bothers me with a lot of laptop keyboards is how mushy they can get when you're trying to type on them for long periods, whereas this one doesn't have any, wow, it doesn't have any mush to it at all. That's very comfortable. Build quality is surprisingly good, again, considering the price point. Normally when you get into those sort of $600–700 notebooks, you end up with something that has a lot of give, but here. So I'll do my usual twist test where I'm seeing how much you can actually bend it, which is one of the surest ways to know if a notebook is well built or not. So on this side, we find USB 3, HDMI out, VGA out, which I still like to see included, gigabit Ethernet, using one of those little flap Ethernet jacks, power in. On the back, you find not a whole lot. On the other side, you find a Kensington lock, 2 USB 2.0 ports, a headphone microphone jack, wouldn't have minded seeing discrete jacks for that, an SD card reader, and then on the front you've got not a whole lot of much of anything. On the bottom you just find a Windows 8 sticker as well as some ventilation holes. The CPU is clocked only at around, I think it's under 1 gigahertz when you're idling anyway, so I wouldn't worry too much about that fan being very loud at all. This one's come with no charge, unfortunately, so I can't power it up right now, but I can give you guys a better look at the back. So it doesn't include a microfiber cloth, unfortunately, but I think I have one around here somewhere. Yeah, we'll just go with that. So I just want you guys to see sort of what the back of it looks like. Did you get any good footage of that, Diesel? I'm sort of getting a quizzical look. So there, that's what the back looks like. Again, it looks very, very premium, considering the price point. So the shiny ASUS logo, the brush finish, it's not quite black. Like, it's almost like a very deep brown. So it looks black at first glance, but then once you look at it from sort of a different angle, it has sort of like a very, very dark wood finish sort of look to it. I actually really, really like it. Yeah, Diesel says classy, thank you. That's probably the word I was looking for, actually. It should be noted, right, thickness. I never showed you guys the overall thickness. So here, we're gonna do the phone thickness comparison as well, just to show you that while it is a little bit thicker than a smaller Ultrabook, because it's a 14-inch model, you do get away with a little bit more thickness and still keep that Ultrabook title. However, it should be noted that the touchscreen itself adds a lot of weight and a lot of bulk to the screen typically, because it's an entire extra layer in there that you have to add in order to get the touchscreen functionality. So staying within that spec and adding a touchscreen at this price point is very impressive. It has Sonic Master audio, so that should mean that in theory the notebook has better audio than other comparable notebooks that don't have any kind of sort of attention paid to the audio. So it's got stereo speakers here and here. And according to sort of what I've seen anecdotally, people have been saying that yes, it does indeed sound better than sort of most notebooks that are this thin. So that's good to know. I think that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you for checking out my unboxing and first look at the S400 from ASUS. Don't forget to subscribe to Linus Tech Tips for more unboxings, reviews, and other computer videos.